Welcome to the Fanatical Elfz Show, part of the Elfz Network. We are a bunch of wild and crazy Cleveland Browns fans, bringing you all the latest in Browns news. Tune in now. Oh. Hey. Welcome, folks. Welcome, Browns fans united. We are the Fanatical Elfz Show. And it is a Thursday night. Where else would you like to be or listening to or watching us live right now on YouTube, on the X, on Facebook? I'm John. There's Steve. There's Sam. And there's Elliot. Hello. How are you boys doing tonight?
Anyway. Pretty good. Pretty good.
Oh, you're so happy.
It's awards night in the NFL.
Right. Tell us about that, Steve. What's going on?
Yeah. I already saw a picture of Jim Schwartz and his wife. He's up for Assistant of the Year, and Myles Garrett up for Defensive Player of the Year. Joe Flacco and his wife are there. Comeback Player of the Year. I have not seen Kevin Stefanski in any pictures yet.
I forgot they really do it up big, don't they? They have this whole red carpet and.
Oh yeah, it's a show.
Wow. Well, do we think that is Kevin going to get the Coach of the Year? What do we think?
I believe so.
Yeah.
I don't know what the Vegas odds are. He was at the end of the season, and these awards, the voting ended at the end of the season, so they don't take into consideration the playoffs. Or
you don't think
they did,
Campbell will get it?
What's that?
What about
D'Amico? It's
Detroit.
It's between D'Amico Ryans and Kevin Stefanski right now.
Oh, really? Well, yeah. Well, that makes sense. D'Amico Ryans, sure.
Mm-hmm.
Houston coach, correct?
Yeah,
correct.
Yeah. Okay.
We all remember him, don't we?
Yeah. Well, lots happened since then. Well, we're in kind of we're in that Super Bowl weekend. We're approaching it. It's fast and furious here. It's Thursday night. Guys from both the Kansas City and the 49ers have been interviewed this week. Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes, Kermit the Frog have been getting interviewed all week. And, we've got Taylor Swift there floating around in the background. Actually, she's in Japan, I believe.
She's in China.
China. She's in China.
After her show, she's going to, and the U.S. Embassy in China assures everyone that she should land in Vegas by 10:30 Sunday morning.
I got my fingers crossed, man. Taylor is everywhere. You
can't miss the 25 seconds of Taylor Swift during the Super Bowl, which should last a day and a half.
And, can't we just watch football? Must we be bombarded by Taylor Swift instead of the Super Bowl? It's anti-American.
Yes, I know. Yeah, all those pictures, all the images of Travis Kelce during the Grammys was just obscene. And then, they didn't show Travis Kelce because he was in Las Vegas getting ready for the Super Bowl.
And then tonight, I see that there are photos going out on the new Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition, probably the final one. I think Sports Illustrated is shutting down, but it's Patrick Mahomes' wife, right? Mahomes' wife is on the cover of Sports Illustrated. I'm like, oh my, like, dude.
As they say in the publishing business, why the hell not?
Right. Why the hell not? It's a weird world out there.
The perfect screening service for beautiful women. I mean, come on. They get it figured out. So,
of course.
So a lot of things coming up. We're going to talk about the Super Bowl after the break. Get everybody's take here on what they're looking forward to. One of the things that just give you, sneak
peek.
I know they were talking about halftime shows, and I think it was 2007, maybe a little bit early, right? 2007, 2008, when Prince was the star of the halftime show. And I was listening to a side story of the guy who helped produce that show. And if you remember, I think it was down in Florida, and it was pouring rain when it just right as he was getting ready to go on. And the producer was saying, going back and looking at it, that it was just it was amazing what he was able to do, and the way that the water actually created some real interesting figures and
remember it well.
colors, and it really ended up being this magical moment. And I remember that. I've gone back and watched it again too. It really was something special. They've talked about Super Bowl ads. Mean Joe Green being at the top of the list, the former Pittsburgh Steeler, when the Steelers were
I
big.
don't know. Arnold Schwarzenegger as Agent State Farm.
Oh,
you guys haven't seen those
No.
hype commercials with Arnold Schwarzenegger? Yeah. Doritos is always good. Budweiser is reuniting the horse and the dog.
Oh, no way.
The little E-Trade babies are back. Yeah, I can't wait.
Well, the Friends characters are back too, right? I heard there's something with Jennifer
I think
Aniston
so, yeah.
and Ross, or Rachel and Ross. All right.
Quick,
well, let's talk about that.
Prince story.
Yeah.
As you know, I used to work in a liquor store. And you meet everybody in a liquor store. Met Brian Schottenheimer in a liquor store one night. But anyway,
Nice.
We used to have this guy that came in all the time, really big guy, about 6'5".
Yeah.
And he used to be a roadie for Prince. And he would tell us stories how Prince was one of the best basketball players because they were always playing pickup games when they were over at his house or at the studio. He always had a hoop set up.
Prince was
and he
so
said
short.
this guy was just phenomenal.
Yeah.
Basketball player.
He's like 5 foot.
Yeah, but he was great. I know the guy is like 6'5", and he's going, I can't believe how great he is. He just goes around me. He's that quick. So,
hey, speaking of basketball, I want to give a shout out to my Lady Hornets Licking Heights JV team as they won their 10th game, double-digit victories this season for our program, which is great. And so congratulations to those young ladies who worked really hard yesterday and got the W. Our varsity team came up short, but we'll get a win. We got a game this Saturday. We travel over to Zanesville, where we'll be playing the metropolis of Zanesville. Have you guys ever been over to Zanesville?
Yes.
I live in Texas, so no.
Oh, that's right, Sam. I forgot. No, I didn't forget. But
yeah,
Sam and
I go through there all the time, don't we, Sam?
Yeah.
I was there just yesterday.
I know.
Elliot, what do you think of? Do you know? I did not know anything about Zanesville until two of my colleagues who I work with in Licking Heights grew up in Zanesville, and they started sharing when we went over to there. I was there a few weeks ago, and they started telling me about this historical bridge in Zanesville called the Y Bridge, the only Y-looking design bridge in the world, from what I've been told. It's in Zanesville, where
Now
the
I'm
Ohio.
Google it.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what rivers cross there. I think I don't know, but it's this Y bridge, and it's the shape of a Y bridge. And people have said that astronauts and people could, when you're traveling over the United States or something, they can see this figure. It's in the shape of a Y. So there you go. Zanesville's famous for it. Had you ever heard that, Elliot?
No, I didn't know that. I just knew that it's just a really picturesque town.
Oh, I see.
And it's.
I don't know if the folks there now or the people that used to live there think it's picturesque, but it was okay.
It's like it
used to be the state capital of Ohio for like a day. I heard that too.
That I don't know about, but
like that.
Yes, there you go.
That's
if
cool.
You're watching on YouTube, it's shaped in the form of a Y.
Like
so you
Y.
city planners or you designers, like if my grandpa Suchan's watching, he was a city planner, so he might have some interest in the Y bridge down there. So anyway, let's talk about more news that's developing as far as architecture potentially, and that's with the news that came out today.
Segue.
There you go. With the news about the Brownies. So the Browns, we've been talking about them for a while, and then they're potentially building this land bridge. And what are they going to do with the stadium on the lakefront? And news broke at some point today or yesterday that the Browns or the Haslams, the rich Haslams, have bought 175 acres of land next to the airport out there in Cleveland. And so there's all the speculation now. And then the Browns actually came out with a statement today saying as such. And so we've got all sorts of things going on here what are your thoughts tonight? I mean, for me, living here in Columbus, it shortens my drive to up to the stadium to 20 minutes. So I'm kind of happy about that. But what do y'all think about it? Sam,
I think it's cool.
Go ahead,
Steve.
Sam.
You go.
I think it's just a savvy business move by the Haslams. It's a chess game. Yeah, that's all it is. When a team owner wants to build a new stadium, the city always goes first. And that's just the way it works. That's the way it works here in Nashville. Titan Stadium, they break ground on February 28th in downtown Nashville. I know what that stadium sits on is far less than 176 acres. So, the Haslams may have bought it to, I don't know, move the Burke Airport there, maybe put the rental car facility a little closer to the airport so you don't have to get on a bus to Ashtabula to get your car. Hey, see, you guys, I've flown into Cleveland. You got to take a bus ride to the car rental place.
Yeah.
I hate it.
Well, now the one thing they do have, they have the RTA, they have the train system that I actually take. And Elliot, you've done this too. You can get on the train right there at the airport and take it into town. It's a 20-minute ride. It's very convenient. It's not the cleanest. So
one of the few cities in the Midwest that has a train that runs from the airport to downtown.
Exactly. Yep, you're right. Now, so there's a lot of speculation. Sam, what are you thinking?
I think it's fun because, the stadium has always not needed, but the stadium has always been talked about as possibly a place for replacement. Maybe a dome or something. I don't think they should get rid of the dome. I think that's an advantage to the Browns whenever they're at home. And also an advantage whenever they're away if they play in places like Buffalo and colder places like New York. But I think it's interesting because, moving closer to the airport is always a better idea than having it far away. Because if you can't put it near the airport, that's fine. But what it also allows is allows an incentive for the airport people, because they're like, hey, there's this giant tourist attraction near our airport. We might as well build some infrastructure around the stadium too, to draw in more people, maybe some apartments, stuff like that. So I think it's interesting. Well, I think it'll be a good idea if they do it though.
One of the things that right now, I mean, those that aren't familiar with the Browns and what their training camp is down in Berea, which isn't too far from the airport.
Exactly.
There's also a lot of other things that people have been speculating about. If the Browns were to build something like that, if it is a dome, unlike what you're thinking, Sam, they could do anything from the NCAA basketball tournament to a future Super Bowl. So there's a lot of positives there. And that part of that area of the city, it's the airport, and there's a lot of industrial things there. But there is some stuff there that's more, modern, up to date, things. So well, I wouldn't be against it. It's always interesting how we go through these cycles in sports sometimes, because you think about Cleveland in the past, like the old Richland Coliseum for the Cleveland Cavaliers was 45 minutes away and off of 270 in the middle of the valley. Now the Cavs have built this, they've got Gund Arena or Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse down there. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of goes from here. But like Steve, I think you're right. I think it's just sort of here's the situation. Move. It's a chess move. Yeah. Elliot, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, I'm really glad that they bought land in Brook Park instead of London, England. That's always been in the back of my mind that, I guess it's still possible that they could sell the franchise to London investors. I don't know how huge the investment in Brook Park actually is, whether it's like a sleight of hand that looks like they're making a commitment, but maybe it isn't. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it is right next to the airport. So it makes me think okay, if it's next to the airport, you couldn't build an outdoor stadium that's next to an airport, could you? That would be dumb. That'd be like the New York Jets used to have this thing, and you couldn't hear the announcers because there was a jet plane
Right.
every 5 minutes and stuff. So I think it would be an indoor stadium if it really is a stadium. And it's the house that Deshaun built. That's kind of what I think
like.
right off the bat. So yeah, I think they're building an indoor stadium.
Yeah.
They're going to put it in Brook Park if it really is a stadium.
Yeah.
And not just sort of a misdirection ploy from getting paranoid here, but no, I like it. I think it's great. I love that area of Brook Park. My childhood home was a mile away from that area, by the way.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
And
there's all sorts of down there, Snow Road, and you've got all that area
very
down
close
there.
to NASA Lewis Research. Well, it's NASA Glenn Research Center, and I was very close to that.
Okay.
So
there's
that's
a good old
place
Bagley Road down there. Used to be a popular place to stop off and get a bite to eat at the Olive Garden, or there'd be an old Friendly's there.
There's all kind of the Grinders, Browns backers of Berea have a club not far from there.
Yeah,
that place will be hit.
Speaking, I want to change the subject just a little bit with the Browns. This past week, there's been some news circulating in the NFL about opening weekend next year. The Philadelphia Eagles were announced is going to be opening their season on a Friday night to open the NFL down in Brazil. And so earlier in the week, there was a lot of chatter here in Cleveland with the Browns, who are on the Philadelphia Eagles home schedule, be the team that opens the season up in Brazil. What do you think?
Yeah,
that's interesting.
I don't think so.
No,
it's 11% chance it'll happen.
Well, that's more than one.
The only thing you've got to ask is NFL teams are required to play overseas games once every 10 years.
Yeah.
And the last time the Browns played was 2017.
Yeah.
They were scheduled to play in 2020, but then COVID hit.
Okay.
So that's what's really fueling the speculation. Is that really a draw for opening weekend, Browns at Philadelphia? Is it? It could be. I mean,
Well, the reason I'd say it could happen
time zone.
I would say
it's the same time zone. So
I would say this for that is that the Browns and the Eagles have developed a relationship over the last couple of seasons, especially in the
I know they play every
in the training camp. Yeah, that I think that I would not see that as not a real possibility. I would say I'll say the percentage is more closer to 40 or 50% in my mind that could be.
What about Dallas at Philadelphia?
Well, right.
They couldn't blow that much money. They make too much money playing.
Do you want to travel down to Dallas, or do you want to go to that game since you're a Cowboys fan? No, you're not a Cowboy. You just wear the hat.
Where I might. I mean, I don't care about the Cowboys as much as the Browns, but Cowboys tickets are so expensive, though. Doesn't matter who they're playing.
Speaking of pricing, my gosh,
Brazil.
What have you guys seen as far as prices for the Super Bowl? We'll talk about this after the break more, but how cheap have you seen any tickets?
I haven't looked at Super Bowl tickets.
Like 6,000 or 7,000.
I had heard that of course they're going to be high. You're talking about thousands of dollars, but as it relates to other Super Bowls, they're not as high.
Okay.
Like if it had been Browns Detroit, you couldn't get a ticket for $10,000.
Oh my gosh.
No, it would have been crazy. So I think a lot of people are kind of, because these two just played not too long ago in a Super Bowl. A lot of people are kind of like, So
let's question here with the Browns. Let's go back to Browns news just before we head to the break here. The Browns hired Andy Dickerson from Seattle, who I think you've mentioned that name, a couple of you. Good hire. It looks like Steve's happy about that.
Very happy. They also
I don't know much
they
about
hired
him.
an assistant line coach from Philly.
Okay.
Today.
So tell us about Dickerson.
Well, let me just put it to you this way. Last year, the Seattle Seahawks. He was the O-line coach and run game coordinator. They had 9 players play on the offensive line.
Yeah.
9 players had 200 snaps or more.
Oh, okay.
Playing on the offensive line. They were 10th fewest in sacks.
Wow. See, and I remember talking about Seattle going into that game, and we were thinking that at the
O-line
time
was supposed to be the problem.
Right.
It wasn't.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's a young guy. Second time at Cleveland. He worked for Mangini. So
Yeah.
he knows the culture.
Um,
He's going to teach a lot of motion and he and Deuce Staley are going to kind of juice up the running game a little bit, put a little fire under Mr. Ford's butt, make him
these guys are
a running
younger.
back and not a line dancer. So
guys are younger, these coaches, and I think you're right. And we'll see.
Fresh eyes. That is going to be the Browns' theme on offense. That's all I've heard is fresh eyes, fresh thoughts, fresh views. So I'll take it. Their offense was getting stale.
Well, and the funny thing about this, though, you've talked about in your blog for Dog Pound South, and Elliot, we've all kind of discussed this past season, but the Browns won 11 games.
Yeah.
Thanks to both the offense and the defense. And that hasn't happened here in a long, long time. So it was a little bit of a shock. And Steve, you wrote about it. I read your blog, Dog Pound South, and on Cleveland Sports Talk. And you talked about it. It was a little bit of a surprise, considering how in that, especially that last game, how our defense didn't do so hot against Houston, but the offense still, with Joe Flacco back there, was doing a lot. So it took some people.
And special teams. Don't forget about special teams.
Correct.
We found a kicker. We found a punter.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah. So a couple blocks field goals. They had a block field goal against Baltimore, and of course the one against Indy. I mean, I think they had another one too. So
yeah. Well, let's pause for a quick break here. We are the Fanatical Elfz Network. It's Thursday night. We've been talking about the Browns potentially moving new stadium in the works down the line, but we're going to talk about the Super Bowl when we come back. We'll be right back. We're back. How's everybody doing?
Great.
Fanatical Elfz, here we are. So we got the Super Bowl, and then we're going to have some final takes here from the guys. Anything else that we haven't covered tonight? And, we're in that part of the season where we're really starting to gear up. Talk about, maybe just spend a minute here, Steve and Elliot and Sam. I know you all have your own shows, and get a little bit of info about what you're going to be coming up with in the next couple of weeks. Sam, let's start with you. What do you got going on? You got the Brown. I know you do the Browns breakdowns. You do a great job. What's your next take?
Next one's tomorrow, 3 p.m. normal time. I'm gonna be doing my first mock draft and a little bit of just free agency talk again.
Okay, very good. The Browns have their first pick at 54. Is that right?
I believe so. Yes.
Steve, what do you got going on with your upcoming Dog Pound South shows?
Well, I'm going to take a deep dive into free agency. I'm going to look at all the different positions. I'll probably break it up a few different shows. I'll talk about the players they already have under contract, who has guarantees, who doesn't. That's a big factor. It's free agency sets up the draft.
When is
like the Browns always say, it's part of their guardrail. You don't pay for depth.
Tell me again when free agency opens up. The tampering period.
The legal tampering starts on March 11th. Free agency starts on March 13th. Okay. The combine is February 27th, and that's when the illegal tampering period starts.
Yes. Okay, so the end of February is when the NFL combine is in Indianapolis.
I think it's the 27th through March 3rd.
Okay. Elliot, what do you got going on? I know you got the Oracle Speak shows. You've been producing those very regularly.
I'm of the opinion that the Browns really will have to struggle to clear salary cap room. They will have to actually find ways to move veterans. It's going to be painful.
Mhm.
There's going to be some familiar faces that are going to leave. And in particular,
Yeah.
I expect to see one of the veteran offensive linemen change uniforms. I think there's no choice.
Uh-huh.
And I think I'm going to toss my cookies when I hear people think that the Browns are just going to go sign a bunch of expensive free agents. And,
Yeah.
we'll just pay for it next year. It's not that simple. The Browns are going to lose more talent than they sign for 2024.
Mhm.
There's just no other way around it. It's just not possible to
Yeah.
keep on signing at the rate that we've been accustomed to.
Mhm.
We're going to have to make adjustments and look for, bargain basement kind of free agents, not these all Galaxy, all pro players. We're not going to sign those guys.
With the Browns, looking at this, and we got the Super Bowl on the horizon here in a couple days. I've been, thinking about the Browns all week, and I'll be bringing you my Johnny Cleveland show here probably within the next day. But part of my show was was asking the question of what do Browns fans really have to look forward to? After the dust is settled, I'm kind of in that mode right now. It's February. I'm looking at the future and I'm thinking, oh gosh, this team's got to go through this whole thing again. They won 11 games last season. Can they get back and do it again? And then can they get motivated? And what drives players and teams and fan bases? There's a lot that we should take away from last season and be excited about. But I'm in this and it's probably the doldrums of being in winter, though it was 64 degrees here in Columbus today. What do the Browns? What should we hold on to it and have hope for? For one thing, for example, is I don't expect Nick Chubb to come back and do exactly what he did last season, but I'm looking forward to hopefully seeing Nick Chubb back in a Cleveland Browns uniform and doing some really good things this next season. What are some things that you're all excited about seeing over the next season? Elliot, you want to start?
Well, yeah, I think, to be a football fan, I think you have to accept the fact that there are going to be 31 teams that do not win the Super Bowl next season. And football builds character. And
write that down.
Hey, I did the math. I'm sure
common sense there. Way to go, Elliot.
And the thing is that if you looking for a team that's for sure going to win the Super Bowl every year, that team doesn't exist.
Right.
And,
exactly.
You need to have a combination of luck and skill in order to win it. The Browns do have enough all pros on their roster that they have a puncher's chance to win, even if they, I think really if you look at the talent that was on their roster in 2023, based on what we now know, that roster was really packed with talent, especially on defense, and they could very well have won the Super Bowl. They had more talent than the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah.
But, significantly more. Not all of it stayed healthy, though.
Right.
This season, the Browns will not have as much talent as they did in 2023. Does that mean that they can't win? Well, some people will say so. I'm saying that, the team with the most amount of talent at the beginning of the season is not always the team that wins at the end of the season. And a lot of times you have to make pickups, like somebody like Joe Flacco, for example. You have to be able to pick up. You have to be able to discover some free agent safeties and stuff like that the Browns were able to do. Find third string offensive tackles. The Browns proved themselves to be very resourceful at building a team during the course of the season. And, I'm really starting to think in a 17-game season, a lot of what happens, a lot of your Super Bowl chances depend on how well you can build a second team, in the, game 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17, not just how you start the season in terms of your talented roster in September. So, yeah, it's impossible to predict the outcome in advance. Sorry, guys. I'd be a rich bastard if I could do that. I predict a lot of things, but I can't tell you who's going to win the Super Bowl next season. That's ridiculous. Let's just play the first game and see what happens and take it from there. But I will always watch football. I'm not put off
let me throw this out, Elliot, and then go to Sam here and Steve on this other, like, looking forward to next year. What are we looking at, and what's getting you excited? Like I mentioned, Nick Chubb, and you've mentioned some great points there, Elliot. The record.
Yeah, I don't know if Nick Chubb is going to play for the Browns next season. I'm not sure.
I know. But looking at schedule, just looking at schedule itself, the team that the Browns are.
Okay, I don't care. I don't care.
Okay.
Neither do I.
I do.
It's like a preseason college poll.
I don't know who's going to be good next season.
We don't know. Oh, whoopee. It's the hardest schedule based on everybody's record in 2023.
What are you looking forward to? What gets you, like, because you're more the realist. You have more hope than me, the disgruntled.
I don't have hope.
Browns fan that has seen this and done that, and what are we setting us up for again? I mean, I want to see a Super Bowl. Browns fans want to see a Super Bowl.
I want to see a Super Bowl.
I mean, I don't want to see tomorrow or Sunday Super Bowl. I want to see the Browns in a Super Bowl and the Browns win a Super Bowl. And I'm getting old, and I don't.
I've told all my friends that from the time they make the Super Bowl to the Super Bowl, I'm going to be drunk every day, and you might as well just get used to it. But anyway, and hope's
Nick,
not
who
that
says
bad.
We are deep. We were deep last year. Ugh.
Oh,
You're
we were
Nick.
deep. We were very deep. And like Elliot pointed out, they had the front office who could replace fine players off the scrap heap,
right,
and plug them in, and it worked. And that's the way the Browns front office works. And it's not bad to have hope. I know there's a local radio station that makes fun of the phrase, hope is not a strategy. But they never continue the quote. Hope is not a strategy. Sometimes it's the only strategy. So what do I look forward to? I look forward to seeing what the Browns going to do this offseason. That's what I always look forward to.
And they usually do something, don't they, Steve?
Yeah, they usually do. Elliot's right. They're gonna, and I hate to tell the Browns fans this, but the most likely guy that they can trade off that offensive line is Wyatt Teller. He's got the easiest contract to convert.
Yeah.
So,
Elliot,
and then you got to look at Greg Newsome, who's due.
Get rid of that guy.
An option is due 1st of May, and he's going to be getting paid $12 million. Now you're going to pay your third corner
send him out of
$12
town.
million. That's not value. I'm looking forward to see what kind of moves the Browns make. I'm looking forward to see
overrated defensive secondary,
who they're going to talk to in the draft class. I've already found out they talked to a edge outside linebacker from Arkansas, John Morgan III.
I like that. Razorback.
Yeah, they already had a meeting with him. So this is the fun part leading up to the actual games. Is this movement, this salary cap manipulation. I just like that kind of stuff. I'm weird.
Nah, you're not. We're Browns fans.
Yeah.
Sam, what are you looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to the free agency and the draft. I think the Browns have a good team. I think as long as I think Watson can be a good quarterback. I still think he knows. I still think he's good. And I think if Watson can stay healthy, if Kevins can still have a coach of the year candidacy year, and Amari, everyone just stays healthy. I think health is a very, very important part, because having to deal with 6 quarterbacks?
Yes.
5 quarterbacks. If you want to count Driscoll, it was 5.
Yeah, we'll say 5 because I don't count him as a quarterback.
4. I don't count him either. They weren't going to win that game.
But I think the Browns definitely have a chance to at least make a AFC championship if they can just stay healthy.
Yeah.
If Watson can figure out what he's doing, and if they make some moves in free agency and the draft.
Well, hey,
they got to win the division.
I'm
sorry. This wild card stuff is just not going to work.
We know that.
Got to win the division. You have to.
Hey,
and by the way, What's that?
Cold weather natural turf. That's our modus operandi.
There you go.
No more playoffs on artificial turf on
Bingo.
away games.
Bingo.
No indoor.
By the way,
Steve, you gonna break it?
Assistant coach of the year is
breaking
Jim
it.
Schwartz.
Congratulations to Jim Schwartz. Just names assistant coach of the year on the red carpet on their big show tonight. So now we got Kevin Stefanski. We're waiting to see if they'll announce him as the head coach of the year. I'm going to say no.
If he's not there, then he's not getting the award.
So he's probably not getting it. Damn it. Okay.
I don't know if he's there or not. I haven't seen pictures of him.
All right. Last topic before we leave you all. We're talking Super Bowl. Anybody got a party planned? I know, Elliot, you said the Xenia Browns backers are going to have a shindig over there.
I'm still open and flexible, but the default plan is Xenia Browns backers, Beaver Creek Browns backers for that matter. Milano's has in Dayton, and Milano's in Beaver Creek also have, they're just tremendous places to hang out. And I've got friends that I'll find at all those places. So it's really, it's just a tremendous Browns area in the greater Dayton area. Just really is.
You and Joel Cade, who does the What the Elf Was That, and Rod Bloom, who does the Browns Blitz, all live in that wonderful Dayton region. So we love having you part of the Fanatical Elfz network, and it is deep. There's a lot of Browns fans that direction. So, Sam, you got things planned for the Super Bowl?
No, sit there and do nothing. Maybe
watch the game. Are always doing something. You're 16 years old, man.
Yeah, I'll sit there and watch the game probably, but I don't have a side. I don't really care very much.
Anybody have any like food items or anything that they like to?
You might buy some chips and some hot dogs maybe and stuff like that, but we're not going to a party or anything.
Hot dogs. Now, when you say hot dog, how do you cook your hot dog? You grill it?
Well, my favorite is grill them.
Yeah.
I think if you got a good grill. But, sometimes we buy the just ones where you boil them.
Yeah.
Good old It really depends on what we're going for, but it's usually boiled ones. But I love grilled ones a lot.
Want to give a shout out also to my assistant principal I work with at Licking Heights. He talked to me this week. Maybe you guys have, I don't know if you've ever been this direction up between Columbus and Marion. There's a little town called Waldo. And supposedly there's some restaurant called G&R. And they have the best fried bologna sandwiches in the Midwest. Fried bologna sandwiches. Anybody ever had a fried bologna sandwich?
Yeah, I live in the South. Of course.
I'm like, dude, I don't like
every country store in every little town has like, John, you gotta
have
bologna sandwich.
You got to have it once in your lifetime. So I may have to drive up to Waldo. It's about a 40-minute drive from us, but anyway, okay, Steve, Super Bowl. You got anything planned?
Yeah, my wife and I will sit here and watch it. I'll watch the commercials, which
we're so exciting, folks. We're so exciting.
Yeah, I know. We'll have some chicken wings and some other food. So sit here in my own house and my own TV with my own bathroom and enjoy it. I don't do Super Bowl parties anymore. I used to.
Now Nashville
not anymore.
Now Nashville is moving again, right? I know you had that super duper snowstorm that shut everything down forever, but it's been very warm there.
Yeah, it was 60 something degrees today, 71 the day before.
Yes.
So
very nice weather. So let's just before we leave, predictions. I know you're all going to be watching the game. My interest, of course, will be watching Travis Kelce and the 25 seconds of Taylor Swift. Any moment I can catch a glimpse of Taylor is great. And we should all be excited to watch that. She's bringing all sorts of new people to watch the Super Bowl. And who cares about the football game? We care about the commercials. And, now the Chiefs can win their third championship if they win. They're going, again, this is, three championships is pretty significant in this day and age.
Yeah.
And I'm taking the Chiefs. I lived in Kansas for 26 years. So though I don't root for the Chiefs outwardly. I'll take the Chiefs in this one. I don't think, like you said, Elliot, earlier, the 49ers, I mean, Brock Purdy, and I just, ugh. I mean, the Browns beat them. They got lucky kind of beating them because the 49ers kicker sucks. By the way, I think he's just as terrible. And I think he's going to have a influence on how this game plays out for the 49ers. And I think the 49ers are kind of lucky. I think they played in the a pretty weak NFC. The Philadelphia Eagles fell apart. I mean, you're going up against, I mean, the Lions had this run. I mean, when was the last time you thought the Lions were going to go that far? You have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with Baker Mayfield. I heard he threw an interception in the Pro Bowl contest too. Is that true? Did anybody hear that story?
I don't know. I didn't watch a minute of it.
Well, I didn't either,
Sorry.
but someone was making fun of the fact that Baker threw, like in a flag football event, like an interception.
Oh, my wife and I watched the Detroit-Tampa game, and all my nieces and nephew who live in Tampa are Buccaneers fans.
Yes,
and one of them called the next day, and I could hear Karen talking to him, and she goes, yeah, your uncle and I watched it, and we were just waiting for Baker Mayfield to do Baker Mayfield stuff. And he did.
Yes.
So,
well, he's an unrestricted free agent. I suspect he'll go back to Tampa Bay, from what I'm hearing also. But
PFF, Pro Football Focus, estimates his contract to be about $25 million.
Okay, not the $40 million that some people were.
Oh, yeah. Come on, sure, right. Well, I don't know. Looking at what the Giants gave Daniel Jones, there's a sucker born every minute.
Hey, any final thoughts here on the Super Bowl before we part ways?
I'm going Kansas City. They're the hottest team coming in. So I always go with a hot team.
Sam?
I say 49ers 24, Chiefs 21. I think it's going to be a close game. I think it will be a field goal. It might even go into overtime.
And a surprise moment for the 49ers in the Super Bowl, their former star Colin Kaepernick will make an appearance on the field after Purdy goes down with an injury and drives them to the final game-winning touchdown. Wait a second. Wait, I'm in the wrong era.
No. You're looking at the wrong NFL script.
He's still.
It's the script number 2.
Taking a knee.
That's script number 2. Okay. Yeah.
All right. Speaking of scripts, but I heard this with the Browns before we let everybody go here. Deshaun Watson, I overheard this rumor that he does not like the scripted first.
That's not what he said.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Elliot, final take on the Super Bowl.
Well, I felt most strongly about taking the under rather than predicting the winner. I think it'll be a defensive game. I don't believe in the Kansas City offense. I believe in Patrick Mahomes, but I don't believe that the quarterback is the only player on the team that you have to account for.
What?
No, I'm sorry. It's not just the quarterback. The receivers actually have to catch the ball, and the Kansas City.
You don't know anything about that in Cleveland.
And so I think that it'll be a defensive game. The defenses don't get enough credit on either Kansas City or San Francisco. I suspect that this game, they say sometimes that more games are lost than won. I suspect that this Super Bowl might be lost rather than won. And I think that San Francisco has a better chance of losing the Super Bowl than Kansas City does. I think San Francisco might do more dumb things than Kansas City. And I think that
you think about it.
Shanahan might lose this game again. He's famous for losing.
That'd be number 3, wouldn't it?
Well,
it depends on how you count. But, he lost the Super Bowl, certainly with the 28-3 game he was most famous for.
Yeah, but wasn't he down to the same? Like they were very lucky to be in where they are today. I think it was 28-10. They were losing to, or even worse.
Give him credit. He came back. That was pretty good. But the dumbest game was when he tried to block a pass rusher with a third string tight end and lost his quarterback. That was beyond stupid.
Yes.
And then he had his team in the Super Bowl with Jimmy G, and
Oh yeah,
maybe the play calling wasn't quite up to par.
That was 3 years ago, right?
I forget how many years ago. It was a while back, but he has the reputation of I think trying to do too much when he's on the big stage.
Yeah.
Trying to dominate the Super Bowl rather than letting it come to him.
Right.
And when you do stuff like that, you wind up making your team lose. And so I think that is a legitimate criticism and a legitimate concern. And so I think I give Shanahan some chance of losing the Super Bowl for his team.
Well, just remember the last time these two teams played, the 49ers had a 21-10 lead going into the fourth quarter. And Kansas City outscored them 21-0 in the fourth quarter. So,
well, there you go.
There you have it.
Boys, thank you very much for being here on a Thursday night for the Fanatical Elfz Network. I do want to give a shout out to the Cleveland Cavaliers, you Cleveland fans watching our show or listening. They are the hottest team in the NBA. They are winning right now at halftime against
57-51.
Yeah, so they're up going into the third quarter, and
don't jinx them.
Just playing pretty well. I know
they're playing well.
They are playing well. Let's hope that they continue. The best thing about them, this isn't a basketball podcast, but I've never been a fan of JB Bickerstaff. Go figure. I don't like coaches, but I've been happy that he's actually been playing 9 or 10 guys in that rotation and limiting or lowering the number of minutes for their big stars, which is, I think, a huge deal. And I complained about it all season long last year. And I think he finally got the message. Somebody at some point said, look, JB, but we'll talk about that. Hopefully they do well this year and get far in the playoffs. Guys, thank you for being here again. We will be back next Thursday for the Fanatical Elfz, plus all of our other shows, the Dog Pound South there with Steve. We got the Oracle Speaks there with Elliot. We got the Browns Breakdowns with Sam. You got me with the Johnny Cleveland podcast. You got the Browns Blitzes. You got the What the Elf Was That show. We're going to keep producing content, bringing it to you. We got free agency coming up here shortly. We got the NFL Combine, all sorts of fun things. So thanks for tuning in to us. Spread the love. Join us on YouTube here. You can watch us, but we really need you to subscribe to us on Spotify, on Apple, on iHeart Tunes, on TuneIn. Follow us and subscribe, because that's where the big bucks are for us. We're making huge money here, and we would love to have you join us and follow us. Tell all your other Browns fans about us. We're just a bunch of guys who love following the Browns just like you. We talk about things like you, and we care about our Brownies. Everybody have a great Thursday night. Go Browns!
Go Browns!
Okay, got to find the music. See ya.